In this video, I'm going to be ranking every creature that was added in a creature vote. So currently, there's 12 of them, and some of them aren't exactly like creature vote winners, but they were added because of the creature vote. I'll talk about that more in depth when I get to those specific creatures, but anyway, let's get into it. At number 12 is the Shastasaurus. This one was added with the center, and it was part of the center creature vote. And it's the only underwater creature on this list. It actually does have some pretty cool abilities, like you have a submarine saddle for it. And of course, originally the submarine saddle was supposed to be on top of the Shastasaurus, but they had to make it under it because of like problems with actually coding it. And then it's got like the sonar thing where you can view creatures around you. But the thing is, this creature is like super late game to try and tame. The saddle is a tech saddle. Now of course you can get it from a drop, and that will definitely save you from having to make the tech saddle, but the fact that it is only a tech saddle does make it kind of hard to, use. And I don't really have too much to say about it. I think just all the other creatures I get a lot more use out of, so I don't really end up using this thing that much, even though I do like it. It's just kind of overshadowed by a lot of other things. At number 11 is the Megaraptor. This one is the newest one added with the Vulguero creature vote, and I do like it. I really like the model. I think it looks pretty cool. It's a cool dinosaur. I just think all the other creatures on here are better, in my opinion. And of course, it's another theropod, which adding a new theropod isn't a bad thing. Some people like absolutely hate the idea of adding new ones because there's so many of them. I think you still can add new ones. There is a very high one on this list. It just needs to be very unique. And this one is kind of unique. It's a lot more like feathered and stuff. And it's got a lot of abilities to it. It can like strafe left and right, which is like the only creature that can do that. And you can like run while strafing, which is pretty dope, as well as you can do a double jump, which is also pretty unique. It has like a pounce attack you can do, so you can pounce onto enemies. It also has a hunt mode where you can like highlight creatures that you want to kill, and then it'll like go from green to yellow to red when you're killing it. And the reason I have this one lower, like I said, I think the other creatures on here are better, but also it's a little bit difficult to tame. It's not super hard. You have to like use the torches and kind of hit it, but it is more like mid-game creature. But I feel like by the time you tame this one, you could easily tame like a Rex or anything else, which is just going to be a lot stronger and a lot better. At number 10 is the Dinopithecus. I do really like the Dinopithecus. It's pretty unique because it is a giant monkey, or I guess a giant baboon, and we don't really have much of those creatures in the game. There is the tiny Mesopithecus, and then there's the Gigantopithecus, but this one is really unique is the point I'm trying to get at. And it's got some cool abilities too. It runs really fast. It's got a super high jump, as well as you can like climb on walls with it. It can also throw grenades, which is pretty dope. And this thing's a really fun one. It's good for caving too, so if you want to bring this thing in caves, it's going to do good. Like I said, I do really like this creature, but I think some of the other creatures are better. That's the only reason it's at number 10 and not any higher. I think some of the other creatures just outshine it, is all it really is. Also important to mention is this was the first ever creature vote winner with the Lost Island creature vote in 2021. So it's been quite a while, and they've added quite a bunch since then. And number 9 is the Fasolasuchus. I really like this thing. The only problem with it is kind of more of a late game tame. It's really hard to tame, and by the time you get that, you don't really need it as much. So that's the thing, is they make a creature that's really hard to tame and only able to tame in the late game, but it acts like a mid-game creature, then it becomes kind of less useful. But that being said, I still think this thing is useful. It can gather flint, which is what I love using it for, because it gets a ton of it, but it's also really fun to ride around on. It has the ability to swim in the sand, and that's very fun to do. You can go swimming around, go pretty fast, so you could actually use this for like travel on scorched earth. If you didn't want to use a flyer for some reason, you could use the Fasolasuchus, and it would be really fun. It's kind of built for the desert, which I think is pretty awesome. But overall, I think the Fasolasuchus is pretty good, but we got some good contenders on this list, so. At number 8 is the Bison. This one was added with Ragnarok, and it technically didn't win a creature vote, but the reason they added it is because it was like second place in like 5 different creature votes, and clearly everyone wanted it, so they added it to the game because of that. So the point I'm trying to get is it wouldn't be in the game without the creature votes, and because of that, it makes it on the list. And I really like this thing too. Very unique. We don't have any Bison type creatures in the game, and Bison in real life are awesome, so having one in the game is awesome. These things are pretty powerful. Like, even in the wild, the first time I tried to tame one, I was getting absolutely, like, destroyed by it, because they can dismount you, and they deal a ton of damage, and they're really tanky too. And you can actually find them in herds out in the wild, which I think is really dope. We don't really have herd type creatures. We have creatures that would have been in herds, but they don't spawn in herds for some reason. But the Bison does, and they're not like huge herds. They're only like maybe like 10 at max, but it's still cool. But the main reason you want to get these guys is they can give you milk, which you can use to raise wyverns, which is an amazing use for them. But they also are just really strong. You can use them to gather berries. They're great for doing that. And they got tons of weight too. I was using them for that too, just to carry a bunch of stuff, and it worked well for that. But you can also do a charge attack and then hit stuff and deal a ton of damage, which is also pretty fun. And number 7 is the Desmodus. This one was added with the Fjordur creature vote, and I definitely miss having this one. Also, there's probably like a big jump from number 8 to number 7 here with the Desmodus, because I really like this thing, and all the ones going forward are really good. And the Desmodus is starting this one off. I miss having this one. I want it back in Ark Ascended. I'm ready for them to add it back. I do miss this thing because I used it a ton when Fjordur came out. But it's like a flyer. It can go in all different directions, and it can do a dive attack as well, which is awesome. But it makes this Sanguine Elixir, which you can craft in its inventory. It's the only way to get it. And you can use that to just feed it to any dino you're taming, and it will give it 30% taming automatically, which is going to save you time as well as save you taming effectiveness, so you can get a higher taming effectiveness out of it. So that's pretty dope. This thing also gets more abilities at nighttime, and it also, when you kill stuff, you get blood packs from them. So normally getting blood packs is really annoying to try and do, but with this thing, everything you hit, you get blood packs from, which is awesome, especially if you want to go tame a Bloodstalker. That's going to make taming one of those a lot easier. And number 6 is the Gigantoraptor. This is a pretty awesome creature too. It's like a giant bird raptor. I don't think raptor really has much to do with it. It's kind of just like a giant bird, and it's dope. I really like it. It's super unique. Of course, I really like when they add creatures that are nothing like creatures that we already have in the game. I could have also said that for the Desmodus, even though it was kind of like another flyer, but it's like a giant bat. That one's really cool, so I give the Desmodus the points for that too. But the Gigantoraptor also gets points because it's nothing like anything we have in Ark. I guess maybe the Terror Bird is the closest thing I can think of, but not really. Anyway, abilities wise, this thing gives you like imprinting. So basically, like if you have a baby dino, you can put it in the pouch of this thing. In the saddle, it has like 2 spots you can put it in, and then you can go imprint your dinos using this instead of whatever the imprinting thing asks for. And then it'll give it a bond with the Gigantoraptor, so whenever your baby dino, fully grown up, is near the Gigantoraptor, it gets a bonding buff that makes it a lot stronger, or makes the imprinting do a lot more, which is pretty nice. It's just great for raising babies, as well as you can use it to locate babies in the wild, and you'll very easily be able to spot babies with it, because like the little roar attack it does. And this thing's pretty strong too as well. It works well on its own. This is a really fun creature. And number 5, we have the Carcharodontosaurus. This is another one that didn't win the vote, but on I think it was it was 2 votes in a row it got 2nd place, and just barely lost. So they decided to just add it anyway, because clearly lots of people wanted it in the game. And I did really want it in the game too, so I'm glad they eventually decided to add it. But it's basically like a Giga, but a little bit different. Instead of the normal Giga, which is very strong but very clunky, this thing is a little bit weaker, but it's a lot more maneuverable. It's a lot faster. And this thing can actually get really powerful, because the more things you kill, the more points it gets, where it'll start dealing more damage. And then, of course, if you keep getting more kills, you'll keep doing even more damage with it. So you can kind of build that up, and then of course over time, if you don't get any kills, it goes away. But it's a very nice ability. It makes these things pretty awesome. They're a great Giga alternative if you want something a little bit more maneuverable and not super clunky like the Giga. And I like how there's now these 2, and then you can kind of pick your preference on which one you want, because they're both in the same size range. Next up at number 4 is the Ling. I think maybe it might have been a mistake to put this thing higher than the Carchar. It's very close for me. I maybe could have put the Carchar higher than this one, but I really love the Ling. I know this is probably like one of the most controversial votes, and of course I didn't already say, but this one is for aberration. But the Ling is very fun. I like when you tame this thing. It's one of the most fun creatures for me to just ride around on because you can glide, and it's a great travel mount specifically for aberration. But even on all maps, you can still get around the map pretty quickly with this thing, even though it's mainly for aberration. And of course, every other map that's got like aberration areas, this thing's gonna shine well in those kind of spots. And then it's got like the feather abilities where it can shoot feathers out, which I feel like is probably a little bit more useful in PvP, but it's great for traveling, and it's super fun mainly. And that's probably a little bit biased on my part, but I really have a lot of fun having this thing around, and I use it a ton just so I can get around either like my base or get around aberration or any other map really. The gliding is super fun to do. Number 3 is the Sinomacrops. This one was added with Lost Island, and does the last one that was technically a loser, but this one would not have been added without the vote because it was in second place in the Lost Island vote, and the only reason they added it is because it was built second in the Lost Island vote, and lots of people wanted it, and that's why I got added. It got added because of the creature vote, so I'm going to put it on this list, and it is a amazing creature. It's a shoulder pet. I think it's like the only shoulder pet on this list, but it basically allows you to fly around and glide around like you have a glide suit, and just hover up too, so it's phenomenal. Basically get you out of any situation where you're being attacked, so it makes the game a lot easier when you tame this one. And they're not hard to tame at all, and so you can get attacked by stuff, you can just hover up and avoid them. You can also use it like in your base or you're building something. It makes building a lot easier. It just makes doing pretty much any task easier, honestly. It's like the #1 shoulder pet to always have on you. It's really good. And number 2 is the Rhyniognatha. This one was added in a creature vote for the island, but it ends up being like on pretty much all the other maps, and I think it was originally supposed to be for Ark Ascended, but it ended up coming out for the island, or for Arkstar Evolved as well. But anyway, this thing is awesome. It's super unique. We don't have any flying bugs, and this is the first flying bug to be added. Well, I guess we do have the tiny little dragonfly thing, so I'm technically wrong there, but yeah, this is like the first massive one anyway. This thing is huge, and it's very unique too. It's a super late game flyer, but I kind of like that because it actually is good in the late game. It's built kind of like as an in-game flyer, and it's really hard to get. You have to like get it to impregnate one of your dinos, and then once you do that, it comes out like eating the creature it impregnated, and then you gotta like feed it a bunch of random stuff. Like it'll ask for like gasoline and element and fertilized giga eggs and all kinds of random crap. But once you do actually get this thing matured up, it does a lot of stuff. It's a really strong flyer. It's got, you know, weight, stamina. You can use it for all the things you'd normally use a flyer for. It can pick up massive things. I think before we had like the Quetzal, and that could pick up like a mammoth, and that was the biggest thing a flyer could pick up. But this thing can pick up a T-Rex, and it can pick up almost anything in the game, other than like Gigas and Brontos and stuff. This thing picks up almost anything, as well as you can pick up structures as well, which in single player doesn't really matter because you can pick them up normally, but it does kind of matter too. Like if you have a vault full of items and you don't want to have to pick it up and then transfer all the items, you can just pick this up, or pick up like the vault or whatever you're trying to move, and then move it and then drop it. As well as this flyer can go underwater, which every other flyer will just immediately boot you off, and then usually you get torn to shreds by megalodons in 2 seconds. But now you can just fly underwater, or I guess swim underwater. You wouldn't be flying, but you can fly into the water and then start swimming, which is awesome from a flyer. And I don't really know why. I guess I kind of understand why more flyers don't do this. It doesn't really make that much sense, but it's really cool either way that the Rhyniognatha can do that. And at number 1, I have the Dreadnoughtus. I really love the Dreadnoughtus. It was added with the Extinction creature vote, and it's like one of the biggest creatures in the game. A massive sauropod. Of course, I've always said we need more sauropods, and I wish they'd add more sauropods with these creature votes, but we'll have to see if they do it in some of the future ones. But I'm glad we got the Dreadnoughtus in the game. This thing is kind of just like a war machine. It's one of the strong. It's even stronger than like a Giga. It's got like 100k health, and it does a ton of damage too. You can like one-shot almost everything in the game. It's kind of ridiculous, or anything wild, I guess I should say. In low level, I guess you're not gonna one-shot like high-level creatures, but you'll probably will 2 or 3 shot them because you do so much damage. The only thing is it attacks insanely slowly, so that's kind of the downside there. But it also has a massive platform saddle that actually has like tiers to it, which we've never really seen with a platform saddle before. And this thing's another use for it is the Titan Slayer buff that it gets. So when it's around a Titan, it does 50% more damage and gets a 50% resistance buff. So you do tons of damage to Titans, and you could literally just bring like one high-level Dreadnoughtus and kill a Titan. But you could just bring a couple Dreadnoughtus and easily take out a Titan, but I've done it with one before, and well, I guess I've done it in single player. It'd probably be a little bit harder in official, but still, the Dreadnoughtus shreds all kinds of stuff, and it's super fun. It's like the ultimate war machine, and it is really hard to tame, so it does balance out. But I think it is actually worth it for how hard it is to tame, because it is a very late game creature, but it's really fun. And of course, I love sauropods, like I said, so having a new one that's really good is a plus. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Let me know what your favorite creature vote winners are. But anyway, thanks for watching, and bye.